Hey everyone, welcome to episode 15 of the Big Fitness Show. My name is Stevie Richards. I haven't weighed myself, but I'm assuming I'm closing in on 190 pounds.
Awesome.
Also, someone leaning out right now, trying to get down closer to 190 pounds is my co-host, Big Mike Behrens. How you doing, Mike?
I'm good, brother. I'm good. I don't know if I could ever get down to 190
Well,
pounds.
I
I
got
haven't
a
been
way you
that.
can, but I don't know if you want to do it.
Well, sure. Yeah. I don't want to get the spinal infection and get there. But yeah, 190 pounds would be, I haven't weighed 190 pounds since high school. So it's been a minute.
Well, you're still somewhat in the wrestling world, right? You're still
Sure.
wrestling. So I would caution you to not lose that much weight because
Yeah.
I know you've heard this before. I heard it throughout my whole career where they said in wrestling, healthy is sick.
Oh, sure.
When you're big and like if you're lean, you're
Yeah.
sick. If
Sure.
you're shredded, you're sick. If you're big and bloated and eat a lot of sodium based foods and take a lot of supplements, you you're very healthy and handsome.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, I 190 pounds would be a very, very interesting. I think I would look like Manute Bowl to date myself a little bit. I would be very like rail thin all the time, which would just be not a good look for me at all. I'd be happy if I could get to like a lean 260, 265. I think I'd be real happy with that.
Oh, you'll get there. I mean, you're still doing the challenge and everything and trying to
Yeah.
take that weight off and guiding people with that, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's still, I mean, I'm still just trying to finish up. I'm doing a bodybuilding cycle right now to add some mass. And so I can clean up my diet a little bit to get more of the leanness, but I've been pretty straight with it the last couple months. And I'm seeing some results. I'm getting bigger and leaning out in the process, but there's still a little bit left to go. So,
I
it's
got,
good.
oh, by the way, I'm trying not to be afraid of carbs. I'm going to take your advice. I actually had
Ooh, yeah.
some eggs. I had 5 eggs. So I was really living beyond the budget that the budget
Attaboy.
episode. And then I had some white rice left over from yesterday. So I mixed that up and it's funny, the egg yolk I put in the rice and it
Mm.
was like having like pork fried rice or something like
Oh, yeah.
fried rice is basically egg thrown in, whole egg thrown in there with other stuff and some soy sauce or teriyaki or whatever you wanted to kind of like
Sure.
put a little bit of a kick of sodium in that. So it was pretty good. I remember now, I think one person, when they saw me at my worst or as I was coming back working out, had literally said that like I looked like Steve Jobs before he died. So,
Oh,
which is
yeah.
better than saying I look like Steve Jobs after he died. So, or
Well,
like a
yeah,
year
sure.
after. Yeah, I don't want to look that bad, but I don't think I
Yeah.
look like I have like pancreatic.
You,
Maybe I should get screened. I haven't gotten screened for pancreatic cancer lately. So,
yeah.
God
Don't
forbid.
get sick again. We don't need you to get sick again, please.
We were
Please.
talking about I had no intention of dying this year again
Yes.
or coming
Yes.
near death, but I can't make any guarantees.
Okay. Well, I'll keep
Well,
praying
while
that
I'm
you
alive, here's a segue.
don't.
While I am alive before the tribute, if you guys want to leave a review, you can leave a review on Apple, iTunes, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform. As a matter of fact, Mike's reaching for his phone.
Yes, I
On
am.
a personal review, which I hope this person puts it up in public on iTunes because it is definitely why we do what we do.
Yeah, Katrina, this is your call to action. Stevie just said he hopes that you put it up publicly for people to see. So Katrina, my friend Katrina sent me a text message this morning. She listened to the show about eating healthy on a budget and stuff. And she sent me a text message with a review of the show. And I shared it with Stevie before we started, but I want to share it with everybody else because it just warms my heart to have this message. And it was a good way to start my day today. But so she texted, the saying, the whole is bigger than the sum of its parts. That's what I think of when I listen to you and Stevie's podcast. The show has taken on a life of its own. It's inspiring, funny, informative, and more. I'm so glad you guys are collaborating on this because you both have so much to offer the world. For what it's worth, that's my biased review. So
Yeah,
like it was a
more
really, really
biased
nice.
reviews. Yeah, very biased reviews in that direction are appreciated. Yeah, that
Yeah,
made my day too. And it's just when you're in it, you're not quite sure. And you and I
sure,
have been friends for many years, but had been like texting each other like once every few months to say, "Hey, man,
sure.
we should do something together." And that
Yeah,
was going on for God. It has to
long
be like
time.
5, 6,
Long
7
time.
years now. So this is definitely something that we knew eventually the time would be right to do it. And then the time would be right to almost die and miss a few episodes. And then the time would be right to come back, weaker than
Yeah.
ever to
Yeah. Right.
but we do appreciate that. And
Yeah.
we talk during the week, we text and like display our gratitude for each other, because the whole, in this case with us, we don't have egos. We realize the whole of a show like this with two guys that have our background and also have our desire for the future to provide more useful information. It can't be understated. We realize we have our own stuff going on, but what we have here together with the Big Fitness Show is something special.
Yeah. Yeah. That just kind of confirms a little bit that it's, because Katrina and I have been friends for 10 years. And if the show was garbage, she would tell me, like if we weren't doing anything good and there wasn't any value here, she would be honest and say, or I wouldn't have got a text message like that. So it's good to hear that. And I hope anyone listening, if you have a review, we're open. We don't have an ego about this at all. We just want to provide value and add as much value as we can to your life, to our lives, to help people live healthier every day. And so leave a review for us. Let us know, comment on the YouTube channel, leave a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts. Let us know how we're doing, what you like, what you don't like, so that we can just help get more value for you out of the episodes.
Yeah. I mean, if you love or you hate the fact that I stopped just short of going into full blown, theories, then you can also you will comment about that. I stopped myself. Mike just gives a look like,
geez, here we go.
if we got that video demonetized off YouTube, it would have made sense, but I'm still
Yeah, sure.
trying to figure that out. So as we are on the tip of trying to produce the show more, we don't want to overproduce it where we're going to get hit with a strike and you're not going to be able to see it. So that's kind of where we're at now. We've even toyed with live shows to see, but live shows generally, they get a pretty decent response as you do it. And you told me this too, but on demand, they kind of fall off really quickly. So
sure,
we're not quite sure about what to do that, but we're very happy, especially with the audio version, which last week's episode, just last bit of housekeeping, got 3 times
to
listen.
That's huge.
Than the week before. Now, we could say, well, that was a very popular episode, which is usually what it is, but we're hopeful that the momentum that we lost with the infection and also the people that expected it every week and then kind of trail it off have come back. And now that we're showing up every week once again, now hopefully people will know that we're going to do our best to be, that weekly show that you're used to once again.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was very encouraging to see that, and hopefully that just continues from there. But if it tanks, we're not going anywhere, so it don't matter.
Thanks, boy. It's all our fault. The whole is better. The whole is better or worse than the sum of the parts.
If it tanks, we can blame Katrina and her review. We can just say it was her fault.
Sure. Yep, Katrina.
Yeah,
totally. Like the hurricane came in, destroyed everything. So.
Oh shoot! Love you, kiddo.
Never forget. So let's talk about this could be a polarizing episode, actually.
Oh, it definitely can. It
you
definitely
said
can.
something about hating cardio.
Yes.
Which isn't a great thing because I think we do need cardiovascular health.
Yeah.
But then there's the overtraining and loving cardio too much end that I have, where it's, hey man, you're burning too much muscle. So we will come from both ends of the spectrum about cardio and our love-hate relationship with cardio. So I think I'll leave it with you. Let's start with the hate.
Yeah. This episode is going to be about cardio. We're going to discuss cardio and all the things that come with it and our experiences with it and stuff. And I do think it could be very polarizing because some people say that you got like cardio is the only way and you don't need to weight train. You don't need to do any of this kind of stuff. But then some people will say the other way, the cardio is terrible and it kills all your gains and all this kind of stuff. So my personal opinion of cardio is I don't love it at all. I don't love doing it, but it is valuable and it's necessary in my opinion. I think a certain level of cardio, whether you're going to try to get it from just doing like getting on a piece of cardio equipment and just going for 30 minutes to an hour, or if you're trying to work cardio into your weight training session. I think cardio is 100% a necessity. I think it's up to the individual of how much of a necessity, meaning like how much you do it every day, if you do it a couple times a week, if you do it focused, depending on how it's working, right? So like cardio is absolutely essential in my opinion, but I don't love doing it because it just reminds me how I'm not in good cardio shape. And there's that piece. I used to be in great cardio shape. Like I used to just be able to go and run, and I have like I was telling my wife the other day that I have like a little bit of a hidden engine of endurance where if I go for an hour, I'm good. But then if I go for 2 hours, I'm even better. Like it's weird. I've never really been a distance person. I mean, because just my size, I don't love doing it. But if you want to play like a sport all day, I used to play back to back basketball games and all that kind of stuff. And I could just go and I would never run out of energy and I would never really get too tired. And I would just be able to keep going at a higher level. So the cardio aspect of it is huge. And if you're training it, it's huge. I just hate doing it because it's boring and whatever. So that's my opening statement on how I feel about cardiovascular work.
Well, my opening statement is that I do admit that I overtrain cardio, but for me, cardio actually, it's not that it's boring. The boring part, you can get around that with entertainment, having an iPad, an iPhone, listening to music, watching a movie, watching a TV show. But for me, it literally gives me, I don't run, but I get the runner's high off cardio. And
Yeah.
also, for some reason, my biggest fear throughout wrestling, especially when I was heavier, was blowing up in the ring, was getting winded in the ring. So my
Mm.
mental thing is still hasn't escaped, even though I'm essentially retired from in-ring wrestling, at least till my spine heals up. I'll tell my wife that part. But but I feel like I'm in the ring and I actually kind of pace in my mind, or if I sometimes I even throw some of the greatest matches in wrestling since I'm breaking down, wrestling stuff and everything. I will watch stuff from the past and then kind of follow along. So when it hits the comeback, for people to come back, that's when the baby face comes up, finally starts fighting back, bumping and feeding from the heel, stuff like that. Uh, I can do interval training on a recumbent bike, on an air bike, on an elliptical, even on a treadmill to be able to go fast, slow, incline, down, stuff like that. That's how I frame mentally my cardio sessions. Now, here's an important thing too. What I've learned now is I need to kind of maybe make a slight detour from the essential cardio weight training because I would do cardio, and even if it was a long session of cardio, I would still train weights. So essentially, in my mind, I think
Mm.
I was killing some gains that I was doing with resistance training. Fair
Sure.
enough. So what I need to do is maybe just do a 5 minute warm up, 10 minute warm up, then go to the weights and forget about cardio after that. Or now what I'm doing is dedicated cardio days where, like I was filming the fight camp thing, I do rounds of boxing, then go into the sauna until my heart rate drops to zone one, then go back and do it again.
Mm.
So, and it's tricky because the sauna will raise your heart rate. So essentially, I'm doing more efficient cardio sessions because I'm not
Sure.
doing like as many intervals. So that's the way I look at it right there, that I got to be smarter about it. But I love cardio. To me, there's nothing that can work up a better sweat than if you're in a hot garage or a hot gym area and just go to town on cardio. And,
Sure.
and when
Sure.
I say there's sweat everywhere, one works on a completely separate garage because
Yeah.
I was doing cardio in the same garage. This is funny. I hope it's funny. We'll see. We'll see what as on the review. She would be, my garage. I had the cardio by the garage door, and then the Hall One trainer is in the back of the garage. So it's
Right.
27 feet from the door to the back wall. And when I'm doing cardio, I'm going so like intense with my arms, even on the recumbent bike, I'm throwing punches or whatever. The sweat is hitting her as she's It's hitting her like hitting the mat, spreading. Yeah, it's like a crime scene of sweat everywhere. And
That's terrible.
yeah, she's just like, you got to
You
get
gotta
it
go
out of here.
somewhere else. Oh wow, that's awesome.
Our poor wives, both of them, but especially mine in this case.
That's awesome. At least, hey, at least she knows you're working hard. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah, there's wellness checks she wants to put it like she checks on me because I went right back into it after I was allowed to
Yeah,
work out. She gets even more scared that I'm going to pass out because it's no shit, dude. It's like, oh, excuse my language. Sorry, Katrina.
that's right.
But it's literally, I had took something in there one day. It was like 110 degrees and like
Oh,
5 or 6 in the morning. And
yeah,
I love it.
sure.
I think it's great.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I mean,
I can't say that I sweat like that. That's for dang
yeah.
sure.
How do you view cardio though? Because that's this mistake. Like I said, I think I've made terrible mistakes of emotionally training or trying to warm my body up from injuries and
Mhm.
taking it too far and then going into the strength session right after the cardio. What's your view on cardio, weights, or say any modality throughout a regimen in a week?
Like as far as frequency,
Well, I would say complementing or actually hurting when you're doing something opposing like strength training, or maybe you want to do cardio and yoga in a day, or you want to do anything. What can you pair with cardio that could potentially hurt gains on maybe even both sides with your cardiovascular health, and then of course your muscle gains?
yeah, for me, just to what I've been doing the last few months, I've been trying to gain some mass, and so I've really kind of shied away from cardio. I haven't been doing it in part because I just don't love doing it. But I don't do intense cardio, but I try to get my cardio in the weight training. And so I don't do like a set 30 minutes, 60 minutes on a treadmill for a couple reasons. One, because I'm just focused on gaining mass and I want to gain mass. And so not like a dirty bulk, but I want to bulk up. And so I don't do as much cardio because I don't want to do anything to hinder it. I don't know honestly the science behind if the cardio is going to hinder it. I think there's varying points of view, just like with anything in the fitness world. There's varying points of view. I think in my head, it's okay, I'm going to focus on this aspect of my training right now. And then I will try to keep the cardiovascular output up by shortening my rest periods in between my training. So I'll do a set, like if I'm doing chest, I'll do bench press and I'll do a set of 10, but instead of taking a 2 to 3 minute break, I'll only take like a minute break in between sets or 30-second break in between sets and try to keep that pace a little more up tempo to help get some of the cardio there. One thing I do for cardio consistently is I warm up my body by getting on my air bike. I have one of those Schwinn air bikes, and so I get on there and I do 10 to 20 minutes, sometimes 30 minutes daily of cardio, but it's not high intensity. It's not pushing very hard. Most days it's just 10 minutes and I just warm up my body, get my legs, get my knees feeling good, get my arms feeling good by riding the bike. And so that's the littlest bit of cardio I do. I do that prior to my lifting and then I'll go in and lift for 50 minutes to an hour and do like a single body part focus right now just because of the cycle I'm in. In the past, I've done where I would hit lifts and then do cardio in the CrossFit space. A lot of times the cardio is built into the workout. So you're not having specific cardio days. Sometimes they're going to be more cardio heavy where you're doing more running and more traditional cardio type things. But again, with CrossFit workouts, you're doing as many reps as you can for as fast as you can a lot of times. And that's where you get your cardio because you're doing the up tempo, high intensity interval type stuff. And that gives you the cardio you're looking for. So my my take on it is depending on my goal for what I'm trying to accomplish will then determine how much cardio I'm going to do. When I finish this mass gaining cycles in a couple weeks, I will start to add in more cardio. I've got this goal of, my wife and I did this the other day. There's these stairs that are at a park by our house. It's it's it, it's at a national, or not a national park, a state park, and they have these stairs down this hill. It's, I want to say, uh God, I don't even have a good assessment of what the
Like
I'll measure
hundreds
it
of
next time.
steps going
Oh
uphill.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
crazy amount of steps. It took me, we walked it, and it took me like 2 minutes and 17 seconds to walk all the way up the steps. And it took my wife like 2 minutes and 38 seconds to just walk up the steps. And we just told ourselves we're going to test this as a walk, but I want to be able to run up those steps as fast as I can. And it just, for giggles, no other reason, just to say that I'm doing it. And so I will start focusing more on cardiovascular, running a little bit. I'd like to get better at running. It's something that I've gotten away from and don't do very often. So I will change my focus and add in more cardio, because I just want to be in better shape, you know. And then for the, I know I'm kind of going off on a tangent, but then the training aspect from the bulk, I have to get my cardio up, because the heavier you are, the harder it is. And so you
Mhm.
got to bring your cardio with it, you know. So I'll focus more on cardio too. And then through that process, I hope that will help me lean out a little bit. And then because I'm still actively wrestling, it'll make my in ring uh, presence a little better too, because I can have better cardio in the process.
Yeah, and that'll help somewhat, but there's nothing like cardio in the ring. And actually,
Totally.
I've said that a million times over the years. Yeah, I could get in the ring today, and I'll blow up, even though I'm
Yeah,
in great cardiovascular shape
sure.
in a garage gym, but not in an actual wrestling ring. And you start taking bumps, and the wind gets knocked out of you, and
Sure.
it's a terrible situation. It's not a good feeling. But
Yeah.
I don't really run. I was going to say, for people that say like, well, that's going to be a lot of impact doing cardio, intense cardio, the air bike, a recumbent bike, even that power 10 I have from Teeter, excuse me, or just a standard treadmill, which if you're running, I would recommend a curved one. I
Hmm.
know you're fighting your wife on that still, but a curved one will help because it's a kinetic treadmill. There's no motor. You move it. So the faster you move or the slower you move, it just goes with you. That would probably be the only type of standing up type of cardio without being on an elliptical that I would do would be
Sure.
walking outside. I was walking a lot when I recovered from the infection before I could sweat and work out. So the walks of a mile and a half, 2 miles were great. And there's people that lean out walking on the treadmill for an hour every day. But
Sure.
then there's people on the flip side that say, oh, if you walk on the treadmill for an hour, you're just going to be skinny fat. I mean, it's very polarizing all around.
Sure.
And for me, I'm just discovering at 51 that, yeah, I should probably dedicate these active recovery days for the cardio or for intervals of cardio along with the sauna. And then for weights, I can still do weights and then get into the sauna in between. So
Yeah.
one last thing about what you were describing too with CrossFit, when you're doing running or jumping or box jumps or whatever, that's technically called cardio acceleration. So if you wanted to lift weights out there, if you're listening or watching, and you want to just do running in place in between your weights, that's how you can get your cardio in with cardio acceleration. And then there's people that swear by mixing that up together
Hmm.
for rapid fat loss as well.
Sure, sure. I think with the cardio conversation, I think one thing that needs to be brought up, and you just kind of mentioned it there, the skinny fat idea of doing cardio. You know, you see people in the gym all the time doing their cardio, and it's 60 minutes of steady state cardio where you're just on the elliptical, but are you really pushing it that hard? And are you getting results? You know, I think that's one thing when people are thinking about a cardio, and as you're assessing whether or not you're going to do cardio and what your plans are, and how you want to go about it. Is it going to get your heart rate up a little bit too? You know, and I think that's something that in the cardio conversation, there's got to be a stressor there to create improvement. You know, like there's certain days where you can go at a steady state and you're just kind of slow going it, and it's kind of a real slow day. But you can't do that all the time and expect to see results. You're
Mm.
not going to get to the point where you can just do 60 minutes of this no stress, no pushing it, no nothing cardio, and create improvements. When you get to a certain point and you're at a maintenance phase, okay, cool. Now we can stay that, and you're not going to be getting drastic improvement, but you won't be going backwards either. And I think for most people starting out in their fitness journey, they hear about this cardio thing and then they think, oh, well, I just got to go get on a treadmill for 60 minutes and then, or 30 minutes or whatever, and I do some cardio, but you don't push it, then you don't get results. And you're like, well, cardio BS, it doesn't work anyways. And so I think that's part of it is when you're doing that cardio, you got to push it a little bit to create that stimulus so that you can actually get the results. And whatever the equipment is, teach their own with the equipment. I'm personally not a fan of ellipticals at all, but I think that stressor is is the key to the cardio. And so with, the cardio acceleration and CrossFit and different things that you can do, you're creating that stimulus to create the results to get the improvement so that your cardio can actually improve in the process.
I was a big fan of ellipticals, and I'm with you now on that. Outside of like the arc trainer from Precor, I
Mm-hmm.
don't feel like tall guys like us have enough.
Yeah.
It just feels like it jams my knee, jams my
Yep.
hip, lower back. I don't work my glutes, or there's just not enough range of motion
Yeah.
on most ellipticals today.
100%.
Also, I've destroyed 7 of them since I've started my yeah. I sheared
Oh,
most of
wow.
the like on my for some reason I always favor the right side since I'm right-handed, and I
Yeah.
sheared metal welds
Huh.
that
Wow.
certain companies have had to redesign the elliptical, and then when they sent it, I sheared that one, and
Oh, wow.
that's not the elliptical's fault.
Sure.
I go super heavy and hard on these cardio machines. That's
Yeah.
why
I mean, I feel like,
the air
yeah.
bike is probably the one that I have to stay with because there's not too much you can break with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the elliptical is, anytime I've ever done an elliptical, I've just always hated it. I feel like it's too restrictive in your movements, your motion path. If you're not, and maybe I just wasn't on the right elliptical too, not to dog on ellipticals because I know people love them, but that's probably my least favorite piece of cardio equipment ever because it's so restrictive, and I just don't know that it was ever something that I liked. I've never broken one or sheared anything off, but yeah, I just never been a fan of ellipticals, and I never will be. My wife had one time, and I tried it, and it just, ugh, I don't like them.
Well, you're Mr. CrossFit. There's no ellipticals in
I
CrossFit.
don't know if you'd call me that. I prefer a rower. Like if I were to say my favorite piece of cardio equipment is either an air bike or a rower. I have a Concept 2 rower at my house in my gym, and I just love it because it's low impact. It's something you can do. I like it for another reason because like on the air bike, you you could just pedal and then your hands get busy. And a lot of times I find myself getting busy with my hands on my phone and I get distracted. And then I end up wasting time or whatever, going down rabbit holes on social media or thinking, oh, I'm going to work while I'm doing this, whatever. But on the rower, your feet are locked in and your hands have to be on the handle, so you can't get distracted doing something else. And so you just I usually put on YouTube and watch some videos or something, and we'll just row. And I like that piece of because it's very intentional. So for me, and I think for people starting out, getting on a low impact piece of equipment like that, like a rower, you're sitting down, it's not hard on your body, it's not hard on your joints, and you can get used to the cardiovascular, you can get your heart rate up and all that kind of stuff. I think the rower is a great piece of cardio equipment.
It is. I really enjoyed. I had the Lit Strength machine for a while. That was the water-based rower that was
Oh
completely
yeah.
off grid, just like the Concept 2. And it also had bands. So you could do Pilates, you could do
Oh, cool.
resistance band workouts. The problem was I stopped using it because I wasn't aware that it was the infection. I just thought that kind of movement was hurting my lower
Oh,
back.
sure.
And it wasn't impact free for me, but it wasn't the rower. It was that infection for months and months and months because
Sure.
I slowly but surely said I can't use this anymore because the risk versus the reward was just my lower back was just jacked after using it. It was
Yeah,
fun, but
sure.
I wish I actually just told my friend, come pick it up just because if I can't use it, I gotta
Yeah,
get rid of it. And
sure.
I wish I didn't because I had no idea that there's this like thing that affects like
Yeah.
6% of the population. So I'll probably be looking to get another rower soon. That's a great choice. Recumbent bike for me was good because of coming back from the lower back infection. The Power 10 from Teeter,
Mm,
surprisingly, cheaper than a Concept 2 rower, mixes an elliptical and a rower, but it's only because of the movement of the way the handles move. But you have two-way resistance on the Power 10.
yeah.
Most
Yeah.
rower is just a pull. This is a pull and a push with
Right.
multiple handles. So I think that's like the sleeper hit of cardio machines. And you think, well, it's Teeter, they're inversion tables, all that stuff, but that's a damn good piece of cardio equipment that I cannot share or break yet.
Well, I mean, your review made it look very intriguing. I've never tried one, but it looks like it would be a good piece of equipment for sure.
I'm
Definitely.
a huge fan more than ever now of off the grid solutions for fitness equipment. I
Sure.
don't want to plug it in. The plugs in the garage are all, you're going to see it in a camera shot. That's just my OCD.
Yeah.
But if you don't want to pay an electric bill, if you don't want to plug it in and you want to put the damn thing anywhere you please, indoors or even outdoors, consider a Concept 2, Lit Strength Machine, Power 10, Air Bike. There's
Yeah.
tons of off the grid ones, less stuff to go wrong. Even the treadmill, the
Yeah.
curved treadmills, not having a motor, not having an incline, not having hydraulics, there's less to break and it'll last you a lot longer. That's the way I look at like if you're going to do cardio on any budget.
Yeah, totally. And I think to that budget point, something just popped in my head. The air bike. One little pro tip is those old Schwinn air bikes. They hold up really well, and they're like the CrossFit community has kind of brought those back into popularity a little bit, and so you can find them on like there's new air bikes that are coming out. There's new manufacturers, and they're becoming less expensive so that CrossFit gyms can use those, and then they'll get rid of their old air bikes. And you can usually find an old Schwinn air bike, like the one I bought. I got for $100. It's super cheap, and it's in great shape. And then there's a website. Oh shoot, I can't think of it off the top of my head, but there's a website where I ordered new grips for it. So I replaced the grips on the handle, and then you can get all kinds of different parts and things for these bikes, but they're a great piece of cheap cardio equipment. And the newer air bikes are bigger. They're just bulkier
It,
and they
like
take up.
Schwinn has the AD Pro or the Airdyne Pro. I had that a long time.
Yeah,
Very nice, but I don't know, $900 difference between
sure.
yours and that. I don't know if it's worth that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and if you just go on a Facebook Marketplace or whatever, and you can look for these old air bikes, they're usually in really good shape and they still work really well. And what I like so much about the air bike is it's a bike. So for somebody starting out, I like it a lot because you're probably not ready for that high impact type of training. You don't like somebody if you don't know how to run, if you've never been a runner, jumping right into running is a little hard. And then getting on a regular bike, stationary bike, it's just pedaling, which is cool. And there's nothing wrong with that because you're doing something. But I like the air bikes because it has the handles too. And so now you've got your arms moving, your legs are moving. It feels like a full body workout. And you can take a break and just work on your legs, or you can take a break from your legs and just work on the arms. So I think for somebody starting out, if you were to look for an old air bike in some shape, you can get one for relatively cheap, 7,500 bucks. Sometimes you can find them, and they're usually work really, really good for a piece of cardio equipment for sure.
And it will last you a long time because with air bikes, you don't need to go, if
Right.
you go with intervals that are hard, 10, 15 seconds, maybe 20 if you're lucky, that's
Yeah.
about the extent of an interval and your heart rate will
Yeah.
stay up there. So you
Yeah.
can do every minute on the minute. You can do just like I did, got in the sauna, waited for the heart rate to come down, went right back out, just so I didn't feel cooled down. And it was really, man, I burned a ton of calories doing
Yeah.
that and then moving to the boxing. So you can do a ton of stuff. I mean, let's talk about if people didn't even want to pay $100 for a bike.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
They can go and follow along with YouTube for free or make up their own little thing. There could be a deck of cards workout for burpees, for
Mhm.
doing different types of cardio. You can use your body. We got a body weight training episode coming up. You can use your body as a cardio machine and just do
For
it like
sure.
that, whether it's walking outside, walking indoors, or trying to get a little bit more intense. Shadow boxing,
Hmm.
anything. You could do anything without any piece of equipment and without a gym space. Just go outside, get it
Yeah.
done.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest perks of cardio. You know, when we talk about being in the home gym space and fitness and all that kind of stuff, anybody can do cardio. Anybody. You don't need a dang thing. You don't even really need good shoes. You don't need to go buy good shoes. You don't need to buy workout clothes. You could do it in jeans if you want to. It doesn't matter. Whatever clothes you have on, whatever shoes you have on your feet, you can go for a walk. Like I've talked to some friends of mine who are a little bit heavier, and you know, he was in a space where he's like, how do I get started? What do I do? And I'm like, dude, just walk to the corner, walk to the corner and back. And for you and where he's at, that would be some pretty heavy cardio for him to walk to the corner. And then I told him, I said, walk to the corner a couple days, then walk around the block, right? And just push yourself a little bit more. And that's going to build your cardio. Don't go out and buy anything. Don't spend any money on anything. Just start moving your body. And that's the best thing about cardio is it's free to run outside. Doesn't cost you a dime. You don't have to have a membership. It's free to walk down the street. It's free. There's so many
Well,
parks
right
and
now it is.
trails.
Right now.
Well, right now, yeah, good point. Good point. But it, you know, like it's so free to do these things in your house. If a deck of cards costs you know, $1, $2 to get a deck of
You
cards
can
if
get
you
a
don't
free
have one
app on
already.
your phone and just
Well,
do
yeah,
it. Yeah.
yeah,
So you
yeah.
don't even need to buy a deck of cards.
Right, right. So the cardio piece of it is so cheap to get started. And you know, just walking, if you're new to fitness, just walking and then walking at a normal pace. And then the next time push it a little bit. Try to walk a little faster. Time yourself so that you have a general idea of how long it took you. Try to go a little bit farther. If you live in a neighborhood, walk around 1 block today, walk around 2 blocks the next day, walk around 3 blocks the next day, and just continue to push yourself. And you can really make some big improvements on your cardio for literally no money at all.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of, there's even if you go, I've been thinking about a video or we can do an episode because TJ Maxx and Marshalls and Ross, they have like fitness equipment there.
Oh
They
yeah, for sure.
but they also, my wife bought it one time. I wish we still had it. It's a pair of dice, like a big kind of like
Oh,
velvet dice or whatever they are, rubber. And on each side, it has like the exercise and the amount of reps or time that you do.
cool.
So you could throw it down and it could say 5 burpees. It could say
That's
15
cool.
push-ups. It could be 30 seconds running in place. And this thing was like $2.99.
Yeah,
If you
that's
want a
awesome.
guided workout, you just throw some dice and just
Yeah,
do that. I mean, there's a whole bunch of not just YouTube or a free app, tons of apps. But if you want to
yeah,
go old school analog and even just even just a deck of cards or even a pair of dice, throw
yeah,
the dice and have a system to do that. You can get so like you know you can have ingenuity to try to do this and save a ton of money. So I thought
sure,
about
sure,
doing a
sure.
video about that, like TJ Maxx fitness items or fitness haul or whatever.
Yeah,
Total out like what can I spend? What can I get for $20 at TJ Maxx?
yeah. I think that's a great idea, dude. I think you should do that
And then,
video.
then
Totally.
I am after the video, take it home. I'll return it. $20 back. Dude, my shit's
But
already cluttered. I don't need any more.
well, I think from you know, we've done episodes in the past where we talked about uh gym equipment and best piece of connected apps and all kinds of stuff like this where we talk a lot about equipment. And I think cardio and we'll talk about body weight movements in the future where it's a huge thing you can do too for no cost. But cardio is one that any human being on the planet can do. You can get up and do it. You can do some kind of cardio. You know, you can just move your body and increase your cardiovascular output. And I think because the barrier to entry is so low, it's a great place to get started. If you're new to fitness, if you're new to a fitness journey, just start walking. That's your cardio right now. For the level that you're at, that's your cardio. And then you might spend 6 months at that level. Fine. You might spend 6 years at that level, depending on where you're at. And if you just keep keep moving, keep focusing on the cardio. What it does, it's going to help improve your cardiovascular health. One of the number one diseases on the planet and killer of people is cardiovascular disease. And so I'm not saying that you're going to cure cardiovascular disease and you're going to, beat cardiovascular disease because you got cardio, because you started doing cardio, but it's definitely going to help, and the more that you can do to push yourself and to improve your cardio now, the better it's going to be for you in the future as you get older. If you can really focus on it, and even older demographic, start doing cardio and do it at your level and get to the point where you're just doing a little bit of cardio relative to your fitness level. And I don't know, it's just just a great place to get started. And the upside is huge for long-term benefits for overall health and wellness and just living healthier every single day.
But I think we should remind everybody out there that just doing cardio is not going to be enough. You're going to have
Sure.
to eat
100%.
right. You're going to have to get enough sleep.
Yep.
Because you can burn a bunch of calories, then you go have some ice cream or Culver's or whatever, which they have good food. But they do.
Yeah, they do.
I like food.
The cheese curds from Culver's are it for me. I love them.
They got the custard that's closest to Rita's. Have you ever had Rita's custard? Like Rita's water ice is a Philly thing. See, now we're talking. I have to do cardio because now I'm getting hungry. It's that. Well, you can use the excuse. I should have just did cardio and had an ice cream cone. Oh, simple sugars after your workout are good. Pop-Tart, P.D. Williams from TNA. Two Pop-Tarts. I think there was something else going on there. But I'll save that for this show.
There you go. Yeah.
But the thing is, too, that you can undo all the good stuff in the best cardio session or even the worst cardio session that you have. Walking, running, swimming, of course, is an amazing one if you have access to water. But if you go and eat like crap and then you stay out late, and then if you do something like drink alcohol, forget it. You got to do so much work just to undo that one day. You're going to have to do a string of cardio and other types of workouts while eating right to get rid of those bad calories and the bad habits. So eat right, sleep plenty. You got to sleep, man. That's just something that I've always had trouble with, and I appreciate it. And if you can sleep easily, like my wife can, God bless you. You're lucky, because I think guys like us, we're up at 1 and 2 in the morning. I got an idea, and then you're not going back to sleep.
Unfortunately, yes, that is how my brain works. I know that's how yours works too.
I think I was sending you texts sometimes. I had an idea for that. Just woke up at like 2 or 3, like right before. So you came in at the tail end of that, because you would have been getting plenty of 1, 2 a.m. texts. Hey, well, I'm thinking about it. I love this.
Oh shoot. Yeah, I mean, to your point of the nutrition and the sleeping part of it, cardio is great for your overall cardiovascular health, and it's going to help your body just be in better shape. It's going to help it work, but it's not going to be the end all be all to weight loss and to fat loss and to stuff like that. Like, if you've got to really focus in on the nutrition piece of it and think about the two working together so that your body is more prepared for any type of event that comes up. It's the cardiovascular system in your body is going to be working better, and then the nutrition is going to help support that, but the nutrition is going to help get some of the weight off and help they're going to work very well together. And then the sleep piece is huge, because it's going to help you recover from all of that. And that's really when the results happen, is when your body is in repair mode and recovering. And so the cardio is really just to get you physically fit to have a better cardiovascular system. And to me, I don't think cardio is the end all be all, because not to knock runners, but like, if that's all you're doing, a lot of times you can see, you can really see the difference between a runner and a sprinter, right? Like, a sprinter looks like a jacked up, muscly dude, or a runner looks like a skinny.
Me during the spine infection.
Yeah. They're just notoriously super skinny. Yeah. And so it's not, there's plenty of evidence to show that the more muscle you have on your frame, the more muscle you have as you get older, the better the quality of life is. And so I wouldn't say that running is the end all be all. You got to have some cardio plus the weight training, so you have some muscle mass and things like that. So when we talk about cardio here, we're not talking about you becoming a marathon runner and getting rail thin and all that kind of stuff. Like, do the cardio that's relevant for you to help your cardiovascular system be in better condition and better shape, so that you can just have a better quality of life every day.
That's a great point, because just as much as cardio can do some damage to your joints, and if you have arthritis, it can flare that up a little bit if you're not careful, or if you're using a machine that obviously has some impact, or even running on concrete or walking on concrete.
Sure.
There are going to be limitations, but I would say definitely guy in my 50s right now, that resistance training is more important than cardio in a ton of ways, because it's just you're going to have muscle loss, your test is going to drop, all this stuff, comparatively speaking to cardiovascular health, which you can, I think, build up easier and prevent degradation easier for
Sure.
cardio than you can with resistance and muscle loss and dropping testosterone levels, environmental effects, food, all that stuff can destroy way more gains
Sure.
with strength training, in my opinion, now that I'm thinking about it, than cardio. If you eat crappy food, you're going to blow up and get winded,
Sure.
and maybe your heart will have an effect over time. But if you have arthritis and you can't move and your muscles aren't growing or supporting your skeletal system, you're in a lot of trouble. You're not going to be able to do anything.
Right. Right. And if your muscles are deteriorated, the odds of doing cardio are going to be very slim. They're going to be hard to do. Right. And so I think the cardio is to me, I feel like, how can I say this? If the muscle is what gives you the foundation and the framework, the cardio is optimizing that, so to speak, so that you can do more.
It's
Right.
kickstarting your metabolism to be able to
Yeah.
burn calories more efficiently, I think.
Sure.
That's
Yeah.
why
Yeah.
I feel like it is.
Well, and I think it's quality of life too. Like, muscle's great, and you got to have muscle to have a quality of life, but then the cardio gives you a little bit better quality of life. So you're not as winded, you're not as tired, you can breathe easier, your lungs are going to work more efficiently. Everything's going to work more efficiently if you have better cardiovascular shape, and for uh for anyone that has children, if you want to get down and play with your kids and do things with your kids when they want to go play outside, doing cardio can help give you better stamina to do that and give you more energy to go do that. If you are just want to be active with your spouse, having better cardio can allow for that. If you want to have just a better quality of life for yourself, if you have hobbies, if you want to go do these things, having better cardio, if you can equate that in your mind, I think this is a tip that a lot of people don't really understand, because like me, you hate cardio or you don't want to do it because it sucks. But what you need to associate cardio with is, okay, if I do this, then I get this. And so for me, it's like, okay, I've got 3 daughters. I want to be able to play with them and do whatever I can with them, take them hiking, do all kinds of fun stuff. If I'm in bad shape because I didn't do cardio, then I can't go play with my daughters. If I want to continue to wrestle at the age of 40, if I'm in bad shape, I'm going to end up getting hurt or hurt somebody in the ring. And so I can't do that. So I think when you're having this cardio conversation, it's all right. Yeah, cardio, it's whatever. Fine. It sucks. But if you want to do the other things and you want to have a better quality of life and be able to do things, like I think that's a huge piece that people don't necessarily correlate cardio with better quality of life and being able to do more stuff, so that you can have those fun experiences of hanging out with family and playing with your kids and going and doing stuff with your spouse.
Well, I think that entails everything with that's a good rule for any kind of fitness stuff,
Mm-hmm.
because you might not think this is fun or that's fun or anything about a gym is fun, but it enables you to have so much more fun
Right.
outside of it. So you got to switch over to functional rather than what you're feeling. Your
Yeah.
personal opinion and your personal feelings actually mean nothing.
Right.
You have to look at it cold hard facts, the research, the logic of, if I do A, B, and C, I can do D. If I can do, cardio, strength training, and of course, eating right, sleeping, all that stuff, I get to do whatever I want and feel the best that I feel while I'm
Totally.
doing it. The one rule I would say, so people don't feel like the only thing they can do is cardio, to say lose weight, lean out,
Sure.
fat loss, as long as you're in that calorie deficit and not in a calorie surplus, no matter how you train or what you do, and even if you don't train, you're going to end up losing weight,
Sure.
but you're not going to strengthen your body and you're not going to make any gains. You're just going to
Sure.
be like, okay, I was 210, now I'm 200. Okay, well,
Sure.
what's that 200 look like?
Yeah.
There's nothing you can skirt. There's nothing you can skate by. There's nothing you can say that's not as important as this. It's all, I believe, equally as important, and they all feed literally each other when you do them.
Yeah. 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 I agree completely. I can't add any more to that.
Except you disagree that cardio is awesome. There, we can end
Marty,
the agreement.
I mean, truthfully, like I think my uh not love of cardio is because of the fact that I'm just not in good cardio shape right now. I think I would love cardio if I was in better cardio shape, and I think that's something personally that I could do better at, is embrace the fact that I don't love it and still do it anyways, so that I get to the point where I do love it. And that's something that I tell myself more often than I would think, that I want to get good at cardio, but I'm just like, oh, it's just hard work. I'd rather go lift some weights and, and put up 300 pounds, like I'd rather do that than go run for 30 minutes. But I need to, because exactly what I was just saying, like I'm 40 and I want to be able to play with my kids who are all under the age of 10. And I want to be able to do that in 10 years, and in 20 years, I want to be able to, in 30 years, but want to be able to play with my grandkids. And so I need to do more cardio. And I think I'm telling myself right now on the show, and for all the listeners, you can try to hold me accountable by saying, hey, how's your cardio, Mike? And we'll go from there.
Leave that in your review on iTunes.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. So just listen to the episodes, waiting for Mike to finally do cardio.
Yeah, this show would be better if Mike just did some cardio.
And, well, we do plan on a future episode, hopefully working out together while we record the episode. That's what I'm looking
Oh,
for.
that'd be kind of cool. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, we'll have it.
I'll come to you though, because we'll make it
Work
work
out
in
on the
Florida.
beach as we're recording
Yeah,
outdoor
dude.
fitness. So you got an outdoor fitness episode we want to talk about.
Yeah,
That would
I
be
think it'd be
perfect.
great. That,
We just try to
well,
put that
maybe
off as long as possible till we can do that.
I'll factor that into as a tax write off. I can finance my trip to Florida just to hang out with you, so we can film content for the show. Like that's perfect.
Don't joke about it, because
I'm not. I'm serious.
when we used to rent the cabin up in Tennessee, I did a
Yeah.
lot of content and workout videos up there,
Awesome.
and it was a filming location. I just wanted to do
Yeah.
something in front of the fireplace or outside in the mountains, and worked out great. I mean, people
That's awesome.
people wanted the beach version of that, and I'm thinking about giving it to them on the
Oh
full
yeah.
workout video. So you could choose the beach or the mountains for your
Oh, dude.
workout.
That's
So
great.
please
That's
don't
great.
tell that idea to anybody out there. Let me do it first. So okay.
Oh
So
shoot.
we can agree to disagree about the love or the hate of cardio, but we can
Yes.
also agree it's not impossible. You don't need
Right.
to buy equipment. You
Right.
don't need to be anything but alive and upright. And even then, I know there's people in wheelchairs boxing and hitting the heavy bag. So if you
Yeah.
have breath in your body and you have something going on, and whatever limitations you might be able to work around, you can still do cardio. You can get outside. You can do it. It doesn't cost you anything except even a little bit of time. That's about
Sure.
it.
Yep.
So with that
Yeah.
said, I'll just let you take us out after you have your thoughts.
I was just gonna say, yeah, we can agree to disagree on the love of it, but I think we both agree that it's essential for quality of life and moving forward. Like you need to do some level of cardio, whatever it is to you, and whatever that fits to you. I think it's a necessity, just to have the to chase that living healthier that we're all after.
Can I follow up with this
Yeah.
before you take us out? Because this, I think, encapsulates it right there. And we've talked about it on many episodes. The doctors told me during this whole infection thing that if I didn't take care of myself as well as I did, that means
Mm.
everything, not just cardio, I would probably be dead right now.
Yep.
So let that sink into everybody out there that it still knocked the living hell out of me. It still
Mm-hmm.
was touch and go. It still was really a lot closer than I can even talk about without getting really emotional.
Yeah.
But it would have killed me if I didn't do the stuff that
Mm-hmm.
I did before the infection hit me.
Yeah.
Let that sink in. It's literally could be life and death. It literally was life and death for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I encourage everybody out there to think that way when they're talking about their fitness journey, because it literally is, do I want to live a healthy life? Or do I want to die an early death?
Yeah. It's heavy.
I don't want to leave on the high. That's not quite the high note I
No,
was
but
thinking
it's
about.
good. Like it's a good thing that I think we all need to think about that. I mean, preemptive fitness is quality of life now, so you can have quality of life later too. Like it's preemptive stuff, and you did it because that's your lifestyle. You didn't do it thinking, oh, this is going to give me a better chance against the infection that I'm going to have, because you had no idea, and none of us know what's going to come. But the thing is cardiovascular health, cardio is a key component towards bulletproofing yourself for the future for any type of other disease that might come up. It's not going to be the only, like, it's not going to, obviously
Well, I
it's not going
covered
to
that.
stop you from getting infected, right? Like, you're
Yeah.
still going to get diseases, things are still going to happen. But if you want to give yourself the best fighting chance, the goal, I think we could say here that for me and you, we want to give ourselves the best fighting chance to live a long, healthy life. And what we talk about on this show is to hopefully give everyone listening to it the best fighting chance, tips and tricks and things that you can do to give yourself the best fighting chance to live a long, healthy life and have a good quality of life in the process. And so I think, like the cardio piece of it, that's a huge piece. And it's a high note, because I hope that this people hear what you just said and take that, and it's motivation to get started of like, hey, I can give myself a good fighting chance too. And cardio is a great way to do that for sure. So with that said, thanks everybody for tuning in to the Big Fitness Show this week for episode 15. I'm really pumped with where we're going. We're getting some good traction. Excited for the episodes we have coming up. I think next week we haven't quite nailed down exactly what we're going to talk about. As soon as we get done recording here, we'll figure out for sure what we're going to talk about next week. Got a couple ideas that are going to be good, but like always, please share, like, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to Stevie's channel, subscribe to my channel, leave us a review. We would love to have some feedback. You can leave us voicemails wherever you listen to the podcast, leave a review there, share it with your friends. And yeah, we'll see you in the next episode, everybody. Thanks. Bye-bye.